It started with a rainstorm. Thick, heavy droplets pounded the windshield of the black BMW 7 Series as it rolled silently through a quiet Virginia suburb. Inside, General Langston Braxton sat stone-faced, dressed in a sleek charcoal overcoat. At 58, he was still cut like an iron statue, broad-shouldered, upright, every movement deliberate. His eyes were sharp, reading a confidential document on a secure tablet. The general wasn't just any high-ranking officer. He was a legend. A West Point valedictorian, former Special Operations Commander, and now a key advisor to the Joint Chiefs. He'd returned early from a classified Pentagon briefing to surprise his daughter for her PhD graduation. That plan, however, was about to be ruined by two officers who had no idea who they were dealing with. It was 4:47 p.m. when Officers Callahan and Vega spotted the vehicle pulled slightly to the side of the road in front of a gated home. The license plate scanner had flagged the plate as similar to one tied to a known fraud case. Not an exact match, just similar. "Let's check it out," Vega said, already halfway out of the squad car. What followed happened fast. Langston looked up from his tablet to blinding blue and red lights. Two figures, white women, late 30s, approached the driver's side, hands on weapons. "Step out of the vehicle," Officer Callahan barked. Langston rolled down his window calmly. "Is there a problem, officer?" "Step. Outside. Now." He sighed. "You're making a mistake." They didn't ask for ID. They didn't explain. They opened the door, pulled him out, and within 30 seconds, a 4-star general of the United States Army was face down on wet concrete with his hands cuffed behind his back. Callahan smirked. "Another smooth talker thinking his car makes him untouchable," Vega chimed in. "He's resisting. Might be under the influence." Langston didn't yell, didn't curse. He just stared at them, unblinking. And then, in a voice so calm it was chilling, he said, "Make one phone call. To this number. Secure Pentagon line. Use your vehicle radio, right now." They laughed. But when Vega punched in the digits, her smug expression cracked. The secure channel pinged back. "This is a restricted Pentagon line. State your clearance level and designation." Vega froze. I think we've got a problem." Callahan's face turned pale. "Who is he?" The man still on the ground answered for her. "You just cuffed the commanding advisor to the U.S. Cyber Defense and Intelligence Task Force. I outrank your chief, your captain, your commissioner." 10 minutes later, 4 unmarked black SUVs pulled up. Men in suits stepped out, silent as shadows. The kind of people who never show up on reports. One leaned down to Langston, still on the ground. "Sir, orders?" Langston stood up slowly, brushing off his coat. "Don't touch them, not yet." Callahan stammered. He didn't comply. We thought—" "You didn't think at all," Langston snapped. "You profiled, you assumed. You grabbed power you never earned." He turned away, but not before adding, "Every second of your body cam footage just became federal evidence." They tried to apologize, pleaded even, but he was already walking back to his car. The fallout was brutal. The footage, redacted and secure, was reviewed by Pentagon legal teams, FBI liaisons, and internal affairs. Within 72 hours, both officers were placed under formal investigation for misconduct, use of excessive force, and abuse of authority. Behind closed doors, a quiet but powerful reckoning took place. Langston didn't demand revenge. He demanded reform, mandatory recognition protocols, bias training overseen by military consultants, a system where no one could say, "I didn't know who he was." But the real twist came 2 weeks later. Langston, still restrained in his demeanor, walked into a high-security defense briefing. There, a defense undersecretary handed him a confidential file. Inside, the entire personnel record of Officer Callahan. Sealed complaints. Misconduct swept under rugs. and a leaked audio transcript where she referred to certain types driving nice cars in good neighborhoods. He didn't leak it. He didn't need to. Policy changed. Promotions froze. Departments panicked. Meanwhile, Langston was invited to consult directly on law enforcement accountability measures, quietly, unofficially, but decisively. His first recommendation? That all tactical and traffic police undergo quarterly federal oversight panels he would personally oversee. But what haunted Callahan most wasn't the lost badge or the legal humiliation. It was what Langston had told her during the moment he was uncuffed. You didn't just cuff a man. You cuffed a mirror. And you didn't like what you saw. That line would follow her like a ghost. The general returned to his duties, never once speaking to the press, never once publicly condemning anyone. But across departments nationwide, one story echoed behind closed doors. The day two officers put cuffs on the wrong man and ended their own careers with a single, arrogant choice. The weeks that followed were quiet, on the surface. But in Washington, silence is never just silence. It's movement behind curtains, whispers in soundproof rooms, pens scratching policy revisions that would never bear Langston Braxton's name, but carried his unmistakable fingerprints. At home, Langston finally got what he came for: his daughter's graduation. He sat in the third row, his chest a little fuller when her name was called. Dr. Naomi Braxton, Doctor of Philosophy and Biomedical Engineering. She spotted him in the crowd, smiled, and held her diploma high. No mention was ever made of the incident, not by him, not by her. That was the Braxton way. But for Callahan and Vega, the storm never passed. Internal affairs made it official. Termination without pension. Their badges revoked. Appeals were filed. But doors that once opened with ease now stayed firmly shut. Every interview ended with the same stiff handshake and polite rejection. Whispers of, "You handcuffed who?" followed them like a curse. Vega moved back to Arizona. She tried to start over as a security consultant, but no firm wanted the baggage. Callahan. She went darker, bitter. She ranted in bars about how the system turned against its own. But deep down, she knew this wasn't politics. This was justice, unavoidable, surgical, delivered without a gun or a gavel. And Langston, he returned to the Pentagon. Quieter, yes, but sharper, more involved. He took on oversight of new police-military liaisons, personally selecting candidates who understood power wasn't control. It was responsibility. He'd seen what happened when people confused the two. One afternoon, months later, he stood at a secure briefing podium surrounded by generals, intelligence officers, and national advisors. Behind him, a massive screen displayed the title of a new initiative: Operation Guardrail, a national standard for civilian engagement. Langston cleared his throat. This isn't about revenge. This is about making sure no one in uniform forgets. Every citizen, regardless of rank, race, or car they drive, deserves dignity, not suspicion, not brutality, dignity. The room applauded, some politely, some reverently. And though he never told the full story publicly, the people who needed to know, really needed to know, knew everything. Because there's something about truth. It doesn't need a microphone. It just needs one moment, one choice, to turn the tide. Outside that building, rain had started again. Heavy, slow, familiar. Langston stepped into his car. No flashing lights, no sirens, just the quiet confidence of a man who had walked through fire and emerged with the match. If this story gripped you like it did me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more powerful, thought-provoking tales like this one. There's a lot more coming. Real characters, unexpected twists, and stories that stay with you. Subscribe now and be here for the next one before everyone else is talking about it.